Have you ever stopped to think about how a company goes from selling you software in a box to, well, renting you a piece of a global supercomputer? That's the incredible story of Microsoft. And it's honestly one of the biggest and most successful business pivots in modern history. So let's get into it. You can really think of this whole thing as this epic 30-year journey. It all starts back around the year 2000 in the golden age of the on-premise empire. Then we move through this super critical hybrid phase, right around 2015, and it all leads to where we're headed, a future, maybe by 2030, that is completely cloud and AI native.
All right, so let's rewind the clock and start at the beginning. The on-premise empire. This was a time before the cloud was even a thing, a time where Microsoft's power was just absolute. And it all came from software you could physically hold in your hand.
Now, you hear this term on-premise a lot, but what does it actually mean? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It's just software that you install and run on your own computers, on your own physical servers, probably in a cold, loud server room down the hall. We're talking blinking lights, whirring fans, and a whole lot of cables. For decades, this was the absolute bedrock of corporate IT. And this is how they did it. This is how Microsoft built that empire, layer by interlocking layer. The foundation, the absolute base of it all, was their infrastructure and developer stack. You had Windows Server as the brains, Active Directory managing every user and computer, SQL Server for all your data, and then .NET and Visual Studio to build pretty much any custom app you could dream of. This was the concrete and steel of the entire enterprise world. And then, on top of that rock-solid foundation, they layered on the tools that literally every single employee used, every single day. We're talking the Office suite, of course, Word, Excel, you know the drill, but also Exchange Server for every email sent and SharePoint for every file shared. And that complete end-to-end stack, that's how Microsoft got a lock on the whole enterprise. But, while this empire looked all-powerful from the outside, the reality for the poor folks actually managing those server rooms was, well, it was a whole other story. Which brings us to the hidden and very real costs of that on-premise world. And honestly, this quote from a system administrator on Reddit just nails it. It cuts right to the heart of the problem. They call their on-premise Exchange server a huge attack vector, just sitting out there needing to be patched and watched constantly. Think about that. This wasn't just about managing software. It was a constant, high-stakes, 24/7 battle. So here's the real kicker, right? You've got this huge contrast. The on-premise world was a burden. It meant heavyweight maintenance, that constant fear of patching, massive upfront costs for hardware, and disaster recovery plans that were just a nightmare to manage. The cloud, on the other hand, promised the exact opposite. Lightweight upkeep, security updates that just happen automatically, you only pay for what you use, and you get reliability built right in. The pain of the old world literally created the demand for the new one. And that pain, well, that leads us right into the strategic heart of this entire story, the Great Cloud Migration. And let's be clear, this shift did not happen by accident. Oh no. Microsoft engineered this with a series of incredibly deliberate and frankly, brilliant moves. So what was their most powerful tool? It was a simple deadline, a concept known as end of support, or EOS. This is the official date when Microsoft just stops providing security updates for a product. And all of a sudden, running that old software in your server room goes from being a hassle to being a massive, completely unacceptable business risk. And just look at how they orchestrated this. It's like a tidal wave. In this really tight window around October 2025, a whole fleet of on-premise giants, we're talking Office, Exchange, Skype, and then SharePoint right after, they all hit their end of support date. Microsoft created this undeniable, coordinated push that forced thousands of companies to make a decision, and fast. Get to the cloud or face the consequences. But what about the companies that just couldn't move to the cloud that quickly? Microsoft had a really clever answer for them too. It was called the Subscription Edition. And this changed the whole game. Even if you kept your own servers, you didn't buy the software once anymore. Nope, you had to pay a recurring subscription, just like a cloud service. The buy once, run forever model was officially dead. So after all that pushing and prodding and strategic maneuvering, what's the payoff? What does life in the cloud actually look and feel like? Well, it's a completely new world of truly integrated platforms. And a perfect example of this is a platform called Microsoft Fabric.
I mean, this is basically the poster child for the new unified cloud world. It's a single integrated platform for every piece of a company's data and analytics. It's specifically designed to break down all those frustrating data silos that were just everywhere in the on-premise world.
So, how does it pull this off? Well, at its heart is something they call OneLake. Just think of it as one single massive data lake for the entire company. And this is key because it means all the different teams, data engineers, data scientists, the business intelligence folks, they're all working from the exact same copy of the data. No more moving files around, and definitely no more arguing about which spreadsheet is the right one.
And the way we think about security is completely different too. In the old world, security was a firewall, a castle with a moat around it. The cloud enables what we call a zero trust model. Basically, it assumes your network is already compromised. So the new security perimeter isn't a wall, it's you. Your identity, who you are, is what determines what you can access, no matter where you are.
But here's the final twist in the story. This massive, decade-long, company-wide migration to the cloud. It turns out it wasn't even the final destination. It was all just laying the foundation for the next tectonic shift, the age of AI. And the scale of this next shift is just staggering. The research firm IDC is predicting that by 2028, there will be 1.3 billion AI agents working in the business world. No, that is not a typo. 1.3 billion. We're talking about a whole new kind of workforce. So, how on earth do you manage something like that? Well, Microsoft's answer is a new control plane they're calling Agent 365. You can basically think of it as the central nervous system for managing, securing, and governing this brand new AI workforce. It's going to give IT leaders a single list to see every single agent in the company, the power to control exactly what data they can touch, a dashboard to actually visualize how they're all connected, and, of course, a new security layer to protect against new kinds of threats. It's literally the HR and IT department for your company's AI employees. And where do all these new AI employees even come from? Well, they're built in a platform called Microsoft Foundry. You can think of it as the unified AI factory, where developers can design, build, and deploy these agents out into the world. So we end right where we started, looking at a mind-blowing transformation. Microsoft's incredible journey from on-premise servers to a cloud-native world has perfectly set the stage for an entirely new way of working, which, of course, leaves all of us with one final, pretty important question. Is your business ready to manage AI employees?